All right, folks, believe it or not, it finally happened. Wow, we have been waiting for this for so long. You know what? I don't even remember anymore. I believe it was in August. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But, Sam Cedar had already kind of given it away. But I kind of made it clear and let it out in the open that he was basically compiling files to release a bunch of evidence on Steven Crowder. That was back in like August. And the day after that, Sam goes on his show, The Majority Report, and literally says, "We're going to talk about the progressive voice veto tomorrow." And they just never did anything. And then they kept delaying it and kept delaying it and kept delaying it. So finally it is here. Surprisingly, though, I still I don't think I lost any excitement for this. Very exciting stuff here. Because as you guys know, Stephen Clam Chowder has been dodging some debates, as you guys can see. So obviously what happened was at Politicon, he ducked out of a debate. And then a second occurrence happened, which was Gavin McInnes' free speech show. I think it's called Free Speech TV or Free Speech or something. And so we're going to look at some of the deets of those two things. Now, really quickly before I jump into that, want to let you boys know that I'm on Patreon. That's patreon.com/theprogressivevoice if you want to access premium content. Make sure to go over there. Again, that's patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. I just posted up a new video for patrons asking the question and answering it. What will Jimmy Dore do after Tulsi Gabbard drops out? Because he's kind of abandoned Bernie Sanders. The same question about Nico House, some Ben Shapiro stuff, some more Nico crazy stuff, Sam Harris, David Pakman. You don't want to miss all the good content over there, so become a patron, patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. Link will be in the description. Anyways, with that said, let us head into the video. So, you guys know the story about what happened with the Gavin McInnes stuff. And so just so you guys know, the character Patrick that he made up as the person who is like the intermediary from Sam's side, who is talking to a guy named Jim, who's the intermediary for Gavin's side, who he believes is fake. In response, he made up a character named Patrick, who's not real. It's not a real person. He was the one corresponding. But he believes that this Jim character is fake. And when you read it, it does seem to be a fake character a bit. It seems like it's a little bit out of its way trying to do like the we stuff, if you can, the way that this reads. But the most significant portion of this, okay, is that in these emails, whoever the heck this Jim guy is, okay, I'm assuming it's Gavin. That's what Sam is assuming, certainly. It's very interesting because here what it says is we told him he is just as bad of the 19 out of 20 liberals that say no to Gavin when we ask them to be on. Hard to have a dialogue when no one wants to talk to each other. So that's pretty interesting there because basically, and some more of this portion you can't see on screen, but I'll read it to you. It says, "I thought if anyone could make this happen, it was Gavin. But he could not even convince him after multiple attempts to do it. We were mad. We think it's stupid for him not to do it and that it would go viral." And then it says, "I think Crowder getting, losing monetization didn't help either." It says, "I'm not going to give up." So what this is this is just Gavin just totally, going after Stephen Clam Chowder, which is certainly significant. I don't know what the relationship between the two folks are now. A lot of those right-wingers, they take part in a lot of rocky business practices, and so they always end up in these weird fights. Like on Benjamin and Stephen Crowder, for example, virtually all of Stephen Crowder's former employees and him. That's a lot of what ends up happening. Gavin McInnes, Joe Rogan, Stephen Crowder, Joe Rogan. Or not Stephen Crowder, Joe Rogan, sorry. But there's a lot of that stuff that goes on. So what the important portion of this is essentially that he has email evidence here, which I believe he already presented, if I'm not mistaken, that Stephen Clam Chowder did indeed back out of this debate. Now, the other portion of this that he's got a second documented case, which we referenced earlier. That was Politicon. Politicon's an event where political pundits go. They do debates. Some politicians go. Last time around, there were a bunch of different debates. Sam Cedar versus Charlie Kirk, and there were some others as well. Now that I think of it, not all that many one-on-ones. A lot of right-wingers were pretty scared, as you guys know. So we are going to hear the tapes, because I guess Sam Cedar had recorded the call with the Politicon employee and, whoever the intermediary was for him, the booker from Politicon. And let's go ahead and hear it out.
And here is that exchange.
Things are moving along. I was literally just building your proposed schedule panel.
Oh, great.
I know. It's very exciting stuff. So you'll have all of that soon. I did want to talk to you about the debate.
Okay.
So it seems that Steven Crowder has maybe gotten some cold feet.
Okay.
And feeling a little intimidated, so I don't think he's coming.
He's not even going to come?
Oh, my God.
Right.
Why is that? Pause it. Now, I want people to understand that this is just this lady's...
It's a great question. I would love to ask it to him myself. He's not even answering anymore.
Really?
Wow, that's a whole nother level. I want you to let that soak in your brain, okay? This guy not only was so scared to where he's like, I'm not going to do it, he just completely ghosted and stopped answering. That's what it is. So when she says he got cold feet, I don't know if he even said, I'm not going to do it, or if he just ghosted. If you don't know what ghosting means, it just means you just stop responding completely. That is a whole nother level of scared. You just straight up stop answering altogether? Are you serious? That is the ultimate, coward move if I've ever seen one. Just straight up stop responding. That's embarrassing. Just let that soak in. It's not even like this guy was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this debate with Sam because I hate him and I'm scared. He just didn't respond. This man didn't respond. This man ghosted Politicon. Oh my gosh. That is insane.
Wow. Okay. That's too bad.
Interesting. But I have two other options for you that I think might be interesting.
So here's an interesting portion, which I think they didn't even catch. Maybe they weren't paying attention to the Kyle Kulinski, Candace Owens situation. But if you recall, I don't remember how long ago it was. Couldn't have been that long ago. Maybe a month ago. Candace Owens and Kyle Kulinski got into a bit of a back and forth because Candace Owens was saying that, I wasn't supposed to debate you. You're lying. I wasn't going to Politicon. I was at my I was at my sister's wedding. In my sister's wedding is what she said, which means she has a role in the wedding. Now, the problem that I pointed out with that was that basically she challenged the dude who plays Captain America, Chris Evans, to a debate at Politicon 3 weeks prior to Politicon. So is it really likely that she really had a wedding to go to that was planned less than 3 weeks in advance? My understanding of weddings is those take a lot of planning, and they damn sure take more than 3 weeks of planning and planning ahead. But I guess what do I know? But this is more evidence that plays into that situation.
Okay.
And if they're not, we to the drawing board.
Okay.
We're happy to do that. So we have Candace Owens coming from Turning Point USA. Are you familiar with her? Kanye's a big fan.
Sure.
And the other one we have, which actually I think would be my preference, I think it could be very interesting, and I think it's a very interesting dynamic, is Dan Bongino.
Who is Dan Bongino?
Okay, so as you guys see there, this is verbal on-the-phone confirmation that indeed Candace Owens was attending Politicon, but then suddenly backed out. So again, as the evidence was there from her challenging the dude who played Captain America, you gotta understand, bro, Candace Owens is a weird mix of grifter and legitimately mental issues. Okay, she rented an apartment for 6 months, didn't pay a dime for it. It was like $3,000 a month or something, and then she literally she said that there was bacteria in the apartment that literally turned her stupid. I'm not even kidding. Actually, that's legitimately what she argued. So, she's a weird mix of that, and she's certainly a pathological liar. So, again, I present the question to you once again. How likely is it that she actually, had a wedding to go to? Come on, bruh. You don't know about a wedding 3 weeks prior to Politicon? Are you serious? Come on now. Let's be real here. Are you serious? There's no way I don't believe this. So this is 100% fact. And Kyle Kulinski obviously got the phone call. Again, the reason why they do phone calls instead of messages, they don't want hard evidence. But I guess Sam was smart and recorded it. Now I guess he's in New York, which I guess is a one-party consent state. So Kyle's also in New York if he had recorded the call, which I mean, you can't really blame him for not doing it. I mean, who would expect to need to do that? It totally makes sense. 100% makes sense. They talked to Kyle on the phone, just like they talked to Sam on the phone, and they told Kyle, Candace's team isn't ready yet. Especially when you hear what they have to say about Crowder's team, you know, and how Crowder's team is not going and all that. So that's a whole nother piece of evidence there in that situation.
Dan Bongino, he eluded me at the beginning because I didn't quite understand who now is just a big pro-Trumper. I'd love to send you some info and background on him and kind of what our idea is behind it.
Okay.
But if
and yeah, that's a real shame.
I think
Crowder.
You're bigger. Yeah, I don't know what his team is doing around him, and that's, just for me to speculate at this point.
Again, very similar verbiage to the Candace Owens situation, and she certainly had a team at that point. Turning Point USA clearly made that decision that she wasn't ready, and so that was her team. So just like they're saying Stephen Clam Chowder's team, very clear.
I don't know.
He has a team? He has a whole team, and he won't do it? He can bring the team.
I believe it's his father, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Oh, boy.
I'm not expert. That was just my inference.
I want to make it clear. That's a real shame.
I think
Crowder.
you're bigger. Yeah, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay. All right.
I'm not expert. That was just my inference.
I understand. Well, I mean, he's young, isn't he? He's not that young, is he?
He's a young guy. He's in his 20s.
Oh, okay.
No, he's not.
All right. Well, send me that.
Like, come on, bro. First of all, he was 31 at the time of this. He's not a young guy. At least not in that sense of the word. But I totally believe that it's his dad that's his manager. Now, the question becomes whether or not his dad made that sort of executive decision of like, yo, you're not doing this because you're a doofus and you're going to get clowned by Sham Sheeter or Zam Zeter, Yam Eater, whatever you want to call him. It's whether that or whatever, but certainly I'm 100% in belief that it's his dad who's his manager. I 100% believe that. It's entirely plausible. Not only that, but when she says the confirm or deny thing, I now that I look at it, I can't tell if she's like joking, but to me, it sounds like that's a yes. To me, that's what that sounds like. It sounds like a yes. That's what it sounds like to me personally. But, as you can tell here, folks, I mean, it's just, and I believe that right there is the end of the tapes, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just pretty embarrassing, dude. Like, it's incredibly embarrassing. It's truly remarkably embarrassing. Oh, and a point that I actually forgot to mention was, at a certain point in one of those emails that Gavin was having, he basically explains that, Sam only has 400K subscribers. Here it is. I'll read it to you specifically. It says, Crowder said he has 4 million YouTube followers and Sam has 500K followers, and he didn't want Sam trying to ride in on the coattails of his hard work, just to lend his notoriety to Sam, which would help Sam gain some of his followers. And Crowder hates Sam for some reason, so he doesn't want to help Sam. So again, this is like really insanely dumb logic. Not only is it undercut by the fact that he debates randos, but like that's like the ultimate safe space. Once you hit 4 million subscribers, no one can debate you. So who can debate you if not Sam? You're talking about a channel with 650,000 subscribers. Who has that many except for like 5 people in the political progressive sphere? Now it's like, oh, you have 4 million subs, so now they need to get to 4 million as well? What is that, dude? That doesn't even make sense. And if you're really afraid that people are going to get, fans from your debate, or he's going to get more fans, that's sort of more indicative of your sort of perception and your thought and prognostication of what would happen in a debate between the two of you Otherwise, why would you really be worried about that? But this is the worst thing ever. I've seen lame clam chowder fans saying this kind of stuff, and it all brings me back to back in the day, in like 2016, Kyle Kulinski was challenged to a debate by Steven Clam Chowder. Kyle turned it down, and Steven was basically going around saying, oh, lefties won't debate me, bloody, nonstop, over and over again. And just to see the tables turn, especially when you talk about Ben Shapiro, who I don't even think is going to Politicon this year, did no debates last year at Politicon, the way that the tables have turned is truly remarkable, and I think it's one that you need to sort of write down in your head as well, because trust me, man, this is pretty significant, okay? The sort of the insane amount of just how the tables have turned. Everybody on the right is running away from lefties. Now they're using excuses about 4 million. Like, after you have a certain amount of subscribers, there's no excuse for channel size. I'm sorry. But, like, once you cross that, like, couple 100K mark, you already have such a channel that it's entirely irrelevant if you have 4 million subscribers. And then you're just in an ultimate safe space, because now no one, unless they have 4 million subs, which is just TYT, can debate you, which is hilarious, and it's incredibly dumb. But those are the conclusions to take from the Steven Crowder tapes, as well as these emails from the Gavin McInnes situation. Again, just to give you a little conclusion on the Kyle Kulinski piece as well. It is also significant that Kyle Kulinski now has more evidence that Candace Owens indeed was punched in for Politicon and was supposed to do a debate with Kyle Kulinski, but of course was stated that she's not ready. And so all around, I mean, they just look really bad. Conservatives look really bad. I mean, they really can't get a debate for the life of them, and it's pretty sad, to be honest with you. It's very pitiful. It's extremely pitiful on the part of the right wing.